Hello everyone, this is Razorflamekun, and today I'm going to be showing you how to solve a 7x7x7 random noise puzzle. To begin, this is how it's going to look when you go ahead and get into the game. There is the 7x7x7 cube, and the very first thing that you look for are sevens. Like this, but a 7. There are none, but if there were, you could color the entire thing because since it's a 7x7x7, that means that every single color, every single square in that row or column has to be colored in. You can think of this like a pie cross. This is 3D pie cross in essence. So a lot of pie cross type rules will apply. To begin, you'll notice that some numbers have a superscript above them. For example, this 6 has a 1. This means that there are 6 colored squares in this row here and 1 gap. Because of this, there's only 2 possible solutions for that, and that is this. Actually, there's more than that. This, and there's this. But you notice in all of them, just these 2 are they're always present. So this is what I call a starter clue. And basically, wherever you see a 6, 1, you can color in both ends of that. So we got some here, we got some here, we got some here. And this is essentially how you start in breaking into the cube. Another example of a starter clue is a 5-2. So because this row here, it could be like this. There's 2 gaps in 5 colors, so it could be like that. It could be like that. It could be like that. It could be like this. But you know, it's the same thing. All of them have to have the ends colored in. So 5-2s, in addition to 6-1s, are also starter clues that you can immediately fill in. And you have to go all the way around every single, all the sides, and you can color these in, like I'm doing here, and it is quite tedious, but it's how you end up getting to solve these. So there is one more starter clue that I look for, and it is right here, a 4-3. There's only one possible solution for a 4-3, and that is this 4 colored 3 and 3. So all of those are not colored in because are gaps, because there has to be 3 gaps and 4 colored. That's the only solution for that. So that helps. And now this unlocks what I call secondary clues. So no matter how I fill this in, you'll notice that the top has to be colored in. So because the top has to be colored in, you can automatically color it in. Now, and I'm just going to go ahead and go around the cube and make sure that all of the starter clues are colored in. So we will be moving ahead in this shortly. So now 3-2. Basically, there's 3 colored squares and 2 gaps. Basically, an easy way to think of it is well, this here, since there has to be two gaps, let me go ahead and undo this. Since there has to be two gaps, that doesn't work and that doesn't work, so that's why both of those are cut out. And then this doesn't work either because there isn't two gaps, so that also has to be cut out. So there's another, and here's another 3 2. So that's the way you solve 3 2s. Single numbers that are just like this. So this means that there are 6 colored squares. So, and we already have 2 colored in. But basically, when there are 6 colored in, no matter how you color them in, these 5 are the ones that will always be colored in. So that helps you solve that. This 5, we have these 2 given clues, so we just connect them like this, and that solves that entire side. There's 2 3 2s here, so we move up. We go to this layer, and we can knock those 2 out. Let's see if there's any other clues that we can go ahead and get rid of now. Okay, there's the 3 1. So there's one gap, and we know that the gap has to be somewhere in here. Because we know the gap has to be somewhere in here, we know that if we consider all of those are empty, then this one can be colored in, but no matter how we do it, this one cannot be colored in at all. Similarly, there's only 3 squares that can be colored in. This one, and this one, since no matter how we cut it, that one can never be reached. So because of this, we can cut those 2 out. Another 4 2 on the top, remember, this one has to go on the top like that. And now I'm just going to double check down here. 3 1, since there's two colored squares in a row, that can't be colored in. So 4 2. There are 2. That means that there are 2 actual colored in squares, or 2 gaps and 4 colored in squares. If we color this one in, we no longer can achieve the 2 gaps. So this is always cut off like that. Similarly to the 4 2s, 5 1, that means that there has to be a gap. So no matter how we fill this in, we can only fill in 4 of the 5. So that means that that one always has to be colored in. And now, because this one's colored in, that leaves 4 here. So we can color in the 4 this way. We can't color it in that way. We can only color it in this way and this way. So that means that this middle square is always going to be colored in. 2 with the 1 superscript, that means there's 1 gap. So similarly to the 3 2s, except that is automatic, like it's just automatic, and that leaves just 1 for us to color in, and that leaves just that. That leaves that entire clue is complete now. So now here, only four of these can be colored in, and or 3, because 2 can fit here. So if 2 can fit here, that means that 3 can fit here, like this or this. But those are the only 2 ways it can fit in, because we already have the gap. So that has to be colored in, and that allows us to cut that out, because similarly to the other side. So now we solved all of that down there. So now we look for easy clues to fill in. This 4 here, well, since there has to be 4 in this row, we can automatically cut those out, and that finishes that entire clue. 3, 2, if you remember, well, we automatically cut those out. Both of those are colored in because of the rule, and then these 3 are colored in because of the rule. These 5 are colored in because of the rule that I told you earlier. This 3 here, and this 3 here because of 3, 2 there. There's a 5 here, and similarly, we can fill it in this way or this way, and that's it. So because of that, those are colored in. So for here, up to 2 could fit here, so that means that we can fit 2 here, even though, or 3. Either way, the 2 are like that, and then the 3 is all of them. So because of that, the only one that has commonality between each other is there. Again, this 4 has to have a gap, so because of that, can't be all 4 of these, otherwise the clue is completely filled in. So 1 has to go at the top, which means that, and since these 2 3s are together, there has to be a gap, so both of those are cut out. And now here, only 3 are left, and these are the only 2 ways that they can fit in, so these 2 are the ways that you fill them in, because it's the only possible way. Okay, 6, 1, there's the gap, automatic fill in, nothing else required. So now we come to this a similar situation to the 6, 1, only it's a 5, 1. So because the total number of squares here is 6, since this is a 5, 1, there has to be a gap, and for the same reason as a 6, 1, when there's 7 in a row, that has to be colored in. And that rule also applies to other numbers in other situations that we can get into when we get into them. There's a 6, 3, or a 3, 2, sorry, that we can automatically fill in. There's okay, so the reason why, because we can't go to 3, basically. That's why these 2 are cut out, because we can't go to 3. This means that we have the 2 gaps, and because of that, these two cannot be colored in. It would leave the clue incomplete, and as such, that is automatically filled in. So similar to the earlier rule that I showed you, these are the only 3 possible squares that can be colored in. So that cannot be colored in. 5, 1, 6. So that is colored in. 5, 1, 6. So that's colored in. So okay. So this is a 4, 1, but we have 3 of the squares colored in. Because of this, that square, if you see how this square doesn't work, because there would be 2 gaps. Similarly, the mirror is also true, so neither of these can be colored in. We leave a 5, 1 here. And don't see anything else that we can do there. Okay, we got a 4 here. So 4s are 4 in a row. These they have to be they have to be connected. The 4 has to be connected. So because of that, we have this solution, we have this solution, and we have this solution. Because of that, this square is shared in all of the solutions, so that is colored in. And similarly, that's as far as we can reach, so that cannot be colored in, and we finish in that grid, which finishes that, which leaves this 5, 1 here. And by filling in this 5, 1, that also, so now that leaves us can't fill that in, and there has to be 2 gaps, so we can't fill those in. So that solves that. So now we can go ahead and do take care of that because of the rule that I showed you earlier. And that fills in this 6 here, so we can go ahead and take that one out. Let's see what else we have that we can do. Okay, so right here, so 3, 1, that means this is only a single square, so, and there's only one gap, so that cannot be colored in. And now, since there's one already colored in, we only have 2 options because it cannot be this, otherwise we would have 2 gaps, so we know for a fact that that is colored in. Let me see, we may be getting to the point where we are going to eventually run out of clues. Well, I mean, that I can see. Before I go and show you a different method of solving, well, actually, first we have this 4, 1. The 4 can't be there because, let me just make sure that was the one that, yeah. 4 can't be there because it would make 4 in a row, so that has to be colored, that has to be removed. That one is colored in, that one is now removed. Since there's already a gap and there has to be 4, that one can be added, and that means that this 2 goes down like that. This 6, 1 is now complete. These 2 can be taken out because of how I showed you earlier. This can only reach to that. That finishes that. That finishes that. That finishes that. That finishes that. And now we're at the point in time where all of that can be done there. This here is now finished. That too there is finished. So we color that in, or take that out and do that. Let me see. I don't see too much else going. Yeah, I'm actually going the same way that I was last time. That's going to happen from time to time because, I mean, that's always happens. So same rule as before with the 4 2s. That finishes that. Okay, so similarly to the 4 2s, this has to have a gap, so that means that one is always colored in. And now we have 3 of the 4 colored in. There's 2 in a row, so that means that. And that also means that because that's 2, and this is 1, that's 3, but there has to be 2 gaps. So both of those are cut out because this is a 2 group. That means that there's only 2 1 groups left. So 1 there and 1 down here somewhere, we don't know yet. I think I was going this way. Similarly, right here, we have 2 more 4 2s that we can fill in. I'm going to check back here, see if there's any additional information we can glean from that. Not yet. Okay, so here's another situation. So 5 2, we have 4 colored in. Since there are 2 gaps, there's only one possible combination that works, and that is that. That's the only way they can be filled in. So we fill it in that way. 4 2, there's a 1 up there, there's 2 in a row. That means that that cannot be colored in. Similarly to this situation right here, this one's the exact same. And that finishes that clue, that entire clue there, so all those are colored in. Because this 2 was colored in, I scroll back a layer, and that shows me that. There was a block that I can remove there. Okay, 5-1. There's only one gap, and since there's only one gap, it can only be in these two. It cannot be up here, because if it was up here, then that would make that actually, yeah, it can't be up here, because it just would make the puzzle unsolvable. See, because there would be two gaps. So that we know for a fact that that is not colored in. Let me check. Okay, I did get that. Good. Okay, so when the amount of clues that I'm getting really starts to dwindle, I go down to the bottom, and then I slowly scroll up from here, and like this, and this shows me that this is 3 squares, so there's only 3 squares here. Let me actually get here. So yeah, as you can see, there's only 3 squares left, and because there's only 3 squares left, it's similar to the rule I told you about the 6-1 and the 5-1. If there's 3 squares, a 2-1 always has to be colored in like that. And that also lets me color in that. Lets me remove that because it's a 4-2, so 2 in a row means it can't go into 3 in a row, so that is removed. And because of this, there's only four of these can be colored in. And that's not one of the ones that can be because there has to be at least 2. There has to be 2 gaps. So we don't know which one of these is the gap, but we do know that no matter which solution that we look at, this one is always going to be part of the solution. So, and as such, we're going to be able to color that in. So that leaves to this 6 that we can just simply finish, which leads to this 2 being done here. This 4 is now done. And this leads to a similar situation with the 4 that I showed you earlier, which now finishes this 5-1. I showed you that situation as well earlier, and that cannot be colored in. And let me see. Anything else I can do around there? No. So as you can see, I'm gonna because of what gets filled in and whatnot, I'm gonna go from going up to going to a different way of solving. But now here, this is complete, which means that this 4-2 is now complete, that 5-1 is now complete. So, and this just follows the same rules as the 3-2s I showed you earlier, which leaves that one has to be colored in because it's a 4-2. So there can't be 2 gaps in there, otherwise we wouldn't be able to fit the 4. 3-1. Can't have 3 in a row because there's 1 gap. This 2-1 is done. Let's move up 1. Can't do anything there. So here, there can only be at most, in this one here, there can only be 3 colored in squares. Because of this, there has to be 2 in this. So if this is colored in, that means that would actually leave that one as the only one that can be colored in. And in this situation, if those 3 are colored in, that means that this one is the only one. That means that these 2 or these 2 can be colored in. So that leaves these two squares as being able to be colored in, at reason of exclusion, and you exhaust all possible solutions, and what remains in common you can color in. So we're going to move up one more, check both ways, not seeing too much this way. Okay, so here is another rule that I can show you. So 3 1 3 1, that means that in here is the gap in one of these two, which means that this cannot be colored in at all. So I can show you why. If that's colored in, then we have two gaps. We have this gap in between these two threes, and then we have a second one. So that is automatically ruled out, and because of that, it is automatically removed. Nothing else there. Nothing else there. And nothing else there. So now we have to go back to the sides and see if there's something new that we uncovered. Nothing there. Oh wait, 4 2. And because of that leaves just those two squares as so we take those two out, and then this, since there's it's a 4 2, we have two squares there, and then we have one gap, so these three squares essentially become a 2 1. And since there's only three squares and it's a 2 1, that's the only way that it can be solved. So yeah, and that's the only way it can be solved. Uh, 5 1, similar to what I showed you earlier. That solves this. 6 1 here. And that probably solves. Okay, so 4 2. We already have the two established gaps, because this one cannot be 2, obviously, because there's only one possibility. There's only one square. But these three also cannot be colored in, and because of that, that one is always colored in. And now we're left with two possible solutions, that one and that one. And this is the one in common, so that is the one that is colored in, which removes the 3 2, colors that in. And then this 3 1 is finished, so we can take that out. We can also now color this one in to finish this. And now we have another situation. So 5 1. There are 4 colored in, and neither of these can actually be colored in, because if this is colored in, 2 gaps. If this is colored in, 2 gaps. This is the only possible one that can be colored in, and as a result, that fulfills the entire clue, and we can take those two out. This 4 1 is now finished, so we can remove those. This 4 2 is now finished. This 6 1 is now finished. This 6 1 is now finished. This 4 1 is now finished. And we can take those out because those two clues are finished, and we're getting into the home stretch. That is done. That is done. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and I'm still going to explain any new situations that come up, but I'm just going to go ahead and, because the solving really starts to accelerate here once you get to around this point. You can pretty much guarantee that you're going to solve the puzzle because you've gotten enough off the board. Not always, though, but a majority of the time. Okay, similar to that one, or that one are the only 3 colored squares that can be the case. So that one is removed. This 4 2 is finished there. Okay, so here I also want to explain this 5 1. If these two are empty, no matter which way I color it in, you'll notice that the ends are always, so if in a 6 line like this, that's a 4-2, the ends are always colored in. Let's see if there's anything this way that I can color in. Okay, so because I can't see anything, we're going to go to the bottom. We're going to go from the bottom again. And let's see if there's anything new that comes to light from looking from the bottom. Oh, 3-2 here. That should allow me. Yep, that's done, which fills all those, which takes all those out. 5-1 and a 6. That means that that's colored in. Didn't really do much else. Oh, this is done now. So that removes that. Not seeing too much on the way up. Oh, nope. Nothing that I can do there. Nothing. So when they're obvious, all these puzzles are solvable without guessing. So I shouldn't have to guess. Oh, there we go. And it can be just that one missing piece. And even that one missing piece didn't really help that much. At least I don't think it helped that much. This is still ambiguous because this can be colored. It could be like this. It could be like this. It could be like this. So we can't remove any of those squares, unfortunately. Can't do anything with any of those squares. Okay, so before I continue, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start from here. There's an option called load valid state. It's a way to check your progress to make sure that you're doing doing things right. And if nothing happens, like as we saw here, that means that everything that we've done so far is correct. So I've made no mistakes so far in solving this. Unfortunately, even though I've made no mistakes, I'm still at a loss of what to do here next. So I'm more than likely just going to make my best guess. I'm just going to guess this in a way that will help me. So I'm going to guess that load valid state is not so. I was unfortunately unable to show you a run that or a puzzle that doesn't have that doesn't have any mistakes. But here's a solution. Here's a thing here. So because I've explained before, that adds a gap, so that cannot be colored in because these are the only 3 possible solutions. So that cannot be colored in. This 3-2, there's only one possibility there. This 4-1, since it's a 5, there's 5 total. The ends have to be ends have to be like that, and that finishes everything there. That finishes that there. And after that little gamble that I did, uh, that is going to allow me to go ahead and finish up. It should go ahead and allow me to finish up this entire puzzle now. I'm pretty sure. We'll see. That's done, which means that is 3. So there's only 3 possible squares. That means that cannot be colored in, and that finishes that off. Yep, this 4-1 is done, which solves that, which solves that, which solves this, and now we're into the end stages of this puzzle. Yeah, it was just a little bit unfortunate that I wasn't able to show you being able to solve the grid without any mistakes, but it's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes you just can't, you just aren't seeing the one solution that the puzzle has. Here, I mean, this has to be colored in because it has to be a 4-1, so that has to be colored in, and that because that probably, yep, that finishes that off, which allows us to color this in. And anything else we can do? Three one, 3-1, 5-4-1, 5-1, 3-1, 4-1, 6-1, nothing there. And then we already did that, so we already went that way a couple times. Are we seriously going to be stopped here? Shouldn't be the case. We shouldn't be stopped here, but I mean it's possible. So I'm going to guess this. It's not it, so that goes ahead and... Okay, so this... this cannot be colored in because otherwise it'd be 4 in a row, so that is removed. That solves this 5 here, which solves this 4-2 here, which solves that, so here, there's only one possibility, and that's in the middle. So we go ahead and take that out. This 6 is now done. 3-1 can't be 3 in a row, so it has to be like that, which means that is done, which means those are done. That's done. That's done. 3-2, that's done. 3-1, that means that's done. That's done. That's done. That's done. And now we're just cleaning up. Those 2 are the only options. That removes that, and that's how you solve one of these puzzles. So now I'm going to go ahead and do the incentive in case it gets met, but I'm going to submit it. Well, it'll be you'll see it shortly. So be right back.